Mykola is a high school teacher who specializes in mathematics, physics, and economics. He wakes up, gets out of bed, and goes on his way to work on his bicycle. He arrives at the school, and when he goes and sees the news explaining that 100 people were killed due to protests in Kiev, Mykola is teaching his class. One student named Ivan stands out from the rest. He has no interest in learning and keeps distracting the class. When the bell rings, Ivan tells Mykola to leave because time is over. The next morning, Mykola and his wife Nastya saw him off as he went to work. While on the road, Mykola sees two soldiers smoking but goes forward as he has nothing in mind. When Mykola arrives at the school, he is shocked to find no one inside. He makes his way upstairs and sees the TV talking about the Russians and the war in Ukraine, more specifically. Near his home, he suddenly rushes back and finds the two soldiers from earlier assaulting his wife. She tires of fighting back, but the soldiers comprehend them and question the couple because they think they're spies. One man goes into their home. He looks around and finds only a picture of the couple and drawings. He lights one of the pictures on fire, and suddenly their home is on fire as they are about to leave. Nastya picks up a rock to throw at them, but she is shot by one soldier. Mykola holds her in his arms, crying profusely while their house is on fire. Sometime later, two Ukrainian soldiers find Mykola clutching his dead wife's body. The soldiers start digging a hole for Nastya while he is looking at his destroyed home. He digs through the rubble and finds the crucifix made for him. He lays his deceased wife in the hole, and the soldiers start to fill it up. They drive Mykola back to a military camp, but the commander gets mad at the two soldiers because he doesn't trust Mykola. Mykola goes over to a table, and suddenly the commander comes over. He tells the commander he wants the Russians out of their land and ultimately becomes a comrade. He starts to train intensely, but as he has little knowledge at the beginning, Mykola tells the commander that his nickname is Raven, but he says that nicknames have to be earned. The next morning, they do more intense training, and day by day, Mykola starts getting better at his new craft. He improves very quickly and even trains. During his free time, the commander told the comrades they did not have enough snipers and asked the people who wanted to volunteer to step up. Mykola stands up, but the commander makes fun of him, telling him he does not know how to use an AK, let alone a sniper. But he snaps back and says he can take apart the AK in under 20 seconds. The commander gives him a chance and hands him an AK while pulling out his stopwatch. He gets ready, and to the shock of everyone, he blindfolds himself. The commander starts the clock, and to everyone's surprise, he is doing it. His time is 18 seconds, and everyone is shocked. They all start clapping, and the commander congratulates them. Mykola gets a fresh cut, and he goes to a sniper training class. Snipers are being given to the trainees, and when it is Nicholas's turn, he gives him an SK. He complains that he wants the same SVD as the others, but instead gets scolded and upset. Mykola, who is now known as Raven, goes into the field with their weapons, and they start their training. They do all sorts of training, including learning the physics of sniping on the field and training their aim with the scope blocked. When it is Raven's turn, he completely misses the target and gets a minus. They go back to learning in the classroom, and the teacher is teaching them how to determine the distance of a target. Raven gets the answer correct, and the teacher compliments him, which makes him happy. The next day, all of the trainees were sorted into different classes. Raven gets sorted into first class. Raven is singing while playing his guitar, and his comrades are listening while trying not to cry. The soldiers wearing their gear and on their way to a checkpoint that the Russians have captured. They arrive, and the snipers get into position. All of them take aim at each of their targets, and one by one they radio each other and count down. But suddenly a car appears, which prevents them from taking shots. A man and woman step out of the car, and the soldier asks for documents. He gives it to him, but when he asks for it back, the couple gets detained, and the man gets shot. The snipers are ready again, and they start the countdown. They all take shots. After taking down several enemy soldiers, Raven spots the last enemy behind the car holding the girl hostage, and shoots him through the window, ultimately killing him. The lieutenant then congratulates the team on their first mission. They take the Russian flag down and put up the Ukrainian flag. When they return to base, Raven wonders where two of his sniper friends are and finds out they're on a mission. He sets his bag down but accidentally opens a door. He goes inside to find an abandoned classroom. Later on, his friends came back, but they brought bad news. He opens the back door of the car, and inside is the dead body of their friend. The lieutenant tells the team they're leaving in 5 minutes, They set up explosives while disguised in McGill's suit. They get into position and see a group of 5 Russian soldiers coming their way. Raven notices one of the soldiers is Ivan, and suddenly they shoot the leaf on the tree, setting off explosions. The lieutenant next to him asks who Ivan is, and he tells him he is a former student of his. The lieutenant finds a photo of his family. He starts getting emotional and lights a cigarette. Suddenly, Raven comes in and asks about the photo. The lieutenant gives it to him and explains that the kids think he is on a business trip as it will help them sleep better. The lieutenant notices the crucifix and also asks about it. Raven tells him about it, and the two share a touching moment. The next morning, a Russian man gets a call, and he mentions Raven. He tells Siri, a Russian sniper, where the Ukrainian soldiers are going to be positioned and tells him to take care of it. Raven and the lieutenant were in the field scouting for the enemy. He points out a car, and of the 2 people next to it, he notices one of them is the man who killed his wife and is ready to shoot. Before he can, the lieutenant next to him tells him to hold fire, but he does not listen and pulls the trigger. The other soldier radios Siri about the sniper and kills the lieutenant as a result. Raven drags his body on his back while the Russians open fire on him. A heartbroken Raven falls into a trench and cries and weeps about the death of the lieutenant. Back at base, he feels guilty because if he had not taken the shot, the lieutenant who believed in him and gave him a chance would still be alive. He makes it a mission to find the sniper who killed the lieutenant and avenge him, an enemy sniper in an abandoned building and another one in a pile of garbage. They're scouting the area for potential enemies but fail to realize Raven is there. He sees the man in the building, but while searching for more enemies, the man in the garbage moves and gives away his location. Raven takes the shot and kills him instantly. The man sees Raven, and they both fire at each other. Raven kills the man but is hit in the arm. Raven is taking a bath while watching TV. He turns the TV off, and while he is relaxing, he gets a call. They want to meet with the Raven to discuss a plan to eliminate Siri. When he arrives, a lieutenant gives everybody more information about Siri and where his favorite spot is. Another soldier asks why they can't set up mines around the building, but Raven explains that chlorine is stored in the building where Siri is hiding and exploding. It will cause severe environmental damage. The lieutenant then assigns everybody to target except for Raven. He wants Raven to sneakily make his way to the building. Siri faces an ambush from the soldiers getting into their positions, and Raven slowly makes his way to the site, trying his best not to get detected. He manages to enter the site undetected and kills 2 lookouts with a silenced pistol. The Ukrainian soldiers count down, and at the same time they all shoot their prospective targets. Siri tries contacting the lookouts, and after a moment of silence, he goes outside to check when it happened. He finds one of his snipers lying unconscious and asks for backup while all of this is happening. Raven makes his way into a building and is as quiet as he can be. He slowly goes upstairs again and finds Siri sitting below him. Suddenly, Siri comes back inside, and when he gets into position, he notices a crucifix next to him. Raven jumped down with a knife and stabbed Siri in the neck. Another sniper is killed due to a bomb being thrown. The backup. Siri called on its way to the site. A soldier contacts Siri but is shocked to hear Raven. On the other end, the truck arrives and a battle ensues, but the Ukrainians, who are well hidden, open fire and kill all the enemies one by one. In the end, Raven made his way out of sight and back to his old home. He stares at his former house and makes his way to his wife's grave. He adjusts the cross, and a volunteer pulls out the crucifix. Even though he avenged his wife, his job as a soldier is still not finished.